Have you seen Destiny debate about trans athletes? His YouTube comments are full of transphobes now. Destiny's community has taken a hard, like a pretty right-wing shift for a long time. It's probably one of the reasons he got banned from Twitch. I genuinely don't think it had anything to do with him taking the trans women shouldn't compete with cis women position, because there were other people who have that position. Even I've been fairly agnostic on it. I acknowledge that it's a difficult question, and the most, like, the strongest answer I have is just like, we don't really have enough evidence to believe this is a problem worth being discriminatory over. But, you know, I don't have like an incredibly like strong, like affirmative stance. It's not something we have a ton of research on. So I don't think he got banned for that. He might have gotten banned for having Nick Fuentes on the Twitch stream, who's a banned streamer, for like 10 minutes. That's possible. But I don't really know. The fact that Twitch doesn't say why people are banned, like it doesn't tell you what the VOD point was or like what point or whatever, is absolute bullshit. It is massive, massive bullshit. It is unbelievable that a premier streaming service can ban you with no transparency whatsoever, and you literally have to guess. Like, you need to have insiders in Twitch to tell you. I genuinely don't know. That is bullshit, and because I don't know what he was banned for, I can't really comment on the ban. All I can really say is, like, he's done plenty of stuff in the recent past that I thought, like, if Twitch banned him for that, I would think, like, okay, that makes sense, you know? So it's not as though he hasn't clouded the field, you know what I mean? He's definitely provided a diverse range of potential explanations for the ban. He's definitely confused the issue by doing a number of things. God. It could be this, Vaush. What is this? Huh. It's just not loading. The site's not loading. No doubt because everyone's rushing over to hear what Destiny said. Now, the title of this is Destiny referring to trans community as inbred disgusting. Oh, hello.
Your one-on-one voice trans debates lately have gone well. Don't cancel. It's just not worth it. That community is never worth engaging with. There's just no point in doing it. Like, it's too, the risk of me, like, ending up getting, like, permabanned and my life destroyed because of these, like, inbred disgusting losers is, like, it's just not worth it. It's just totally not worth it.
Prophetic, almost. Even that, like, if Twitch banned for that, would that even be that inconsistent? Like, can you imagine if you, like, referred to, like, the black community as like inbred disgust? Like, yeah, like Twitch permabanned me for saying cracker. Like, given the standards that have been set up, I'm pretty sure the only reason he hasn't been banned ages ago is because he's like a legacy partner, you know? Lord knows I have been permanently banned for far less than what he has done. So yeah, so with regards to Twitch's consistency, it's impossible to say. It's impossible to know. I genuinely don't know. You've been permabanned twice. I got permabanned for saying cracker, but you've not appealed. No. I appealed last night just because I wanted to find out if Destiny getting permad from Twitch was some kind of like Full Metal Alchemist equivalent exchange thing where like I could somehow wrest myself from the ban through the power of his ban, you know, like to see if there's some sort of universal constant that I can exploit to get back on the platform. But yeah, to restore balance, essentially. If I do get back on Twitch, I'm not going to stream there regularly. I just want the ability to talk to other Twitch streamers, you know? Also to drop in on people's streams, like just being in chat and dropping in and saying like, hey, what's up? Like, you know, I don't know, it's nice. I know a lot of people who stream on Twitch, so, yeah. I don't know, just whatever. Would you consider his take on trans athletes actually transphobic? I don't know I don't know. I only see him on Twitter like bullying trans people, and like I only see trans like little trans accounts like going private or like freaking out because they get like transphobes in their comment replies because Destiny quote tweeted them, and a ton of far right people follow Destiny on Twitter for like targets to like engage with. You know what I mean? I don't really know. Yeah, just I don't know. His community's gotten pretty far right. Oh, you know, Danny, or I think Synth was here. Is her name. I followed her for a while on Twitter before unfollowing her because she was an insufferable like DGG stan. But then I refollowed her on stream actually because of a horse dick joke. You know, I'm consistent. Destiny like banned her from his chat a couple of days ago because she was pointing out that his behavior was attracting like a far right audience that was engaging in transphobia unironically, and she just got banned for that. Okay, Am I misremembering, or did he not say like banned for posting child pornography? Yeah. Because he likes calling trans women pedos. He seems to do that a lot. Um, or something like that. Yeah. Didn't Destiny delete a ton of tweets recently? He's done it like 18 times over the past month because he keeps just being like a far right Twitter account, and then deleting everything. I don't know. Look, look again. I can't speak to the legitimacy of the ban from Twitch because Twitch is so opaque about how they ban that you literally just don't know. You just have to like guess. Sometimes it's obvious if they're like, for instance, like if you show your gaping asshole on stream accidentally somehow, like, and you get banned for nudity, like, well, okay, there you go. But you know, with stuff like this, it's really hard to say. The only thing I really have to say is like, honest to God, I'm amazed that he wasn't banned for the rape apologia arc, you know? Like, for those of you who don't remember, there was this lady on Twitter who just tweeted, not at anyone, not in response to anything, just not even in this circle, just a person on Twitter who tweeted that she'd been raped like several times and essentially asked men to not do that. And then Mind Waves, who's like I guess a adjacent to Destiny, I don't really know, tweeted some snarky shit at that. And then Destiny jumped in and said something about how like if she wasn't strong enough to speak up to the guys who were raping her, then it ended with him calling her like a retarded child for not having the strength of character to speak up to a rapist or whatever. Like, out of nothing. Like, again, this was just some random. And then, you know, he argues with his community. He argues with Haz of Akir. And meanwhile, during the argument, like Haz, no, not Haz, sorry, that's infrared. Hans of Akir. There you go. They're close in names. Hans of Akir, not Haz. Haz is probably fine with rape. Hans of Akir isn't. Bless the man. Um, and like he's also been a victim of sexual assault, and like he talks with Destiny, and Destiny's community is like mocking him the entire time. I think Hans cries at one point, and like Destiny's community is like trashing him for it, even though before they used to be like men should be able to cry without being trashed, but like that was a different time with different people and a different Destiny. And anyway, Hans points out that if a woman confronts a rapist like right there, he could just like rape her harder because it's a guy, and Destiny laughs at that. And then Hans points out that like she only noticed that the rapes happened after the sex had been finished, so calling them out right there wouldn't do anything apart from um making the guys angry. Like it wouldn't unrape her because it was like a stealthing thing, like taking the condoms off. And Destiny's response to that was well then maybe she shouldn't be having sex. Like if you get raped too much as a woman, like it's on you, just like don't have don't have sex at all. And it was just like his behavior during all of this was, and I'm not exaggerating, legitimately scummier than the behavior and mannerisms of a lot of alt-righters I've debated with. You know, like it could be up there with like some of the worst stuff Sargon did during Gamergate in terms of like moral, like in terms of the morality of the behavior there. Now, in terms of Destiny's positions politically, he's a left-leaning liberal and a progressive, you know? But positions don't really matter when your behavior contradicts the positions. Like, wasn't that the whole thing with Sargon too? Oh, he was an egalitarian, you know? Oh, Sargon was a left-leaning, he was a classical liberal. Now, his behavior was exclusively him trashing feminists back during the Gamergate era, but that's because those feminists had gone too far and they were bad advocates for gender equality. And Sargon was the rational, you know, the voice of reason, who was using his superior interpretation of progressive ideology to make fun of and attack these. And it's literally just what Destiny does. Your positions are irrelevant. Your behavior is what matters. And no matter his political positions, no matter what he debates for and actually believes, the stuff he does and gets emotionally involved in makes him pretty indistinguishable from just like a far like right like antagonist in a lot of issues, not holistically, but whenever he gets angry, which seems to happen pretty often these days. And now his community is primed to think that, oh, no, it wasn't that Destiny has been acting like an indefensible shithole, and breaking terms of service, or at the very least doing worse things than what other people have done for breaking terms of service. It's the crazy trans community. And now you're going to ride this narrative. Oh, well, Destiny was progressive, but now he's the punished Destiny who stood up for the transes for years, but they betrayed him after he did nothing at all to them, and so on. The point is, the narrativization is crazy. No matter how you scan it or look at it. Oh, God, I nearly forgot. After all of that, Destiny went on Twitter unprompted after, like, being wrong on everything related to this stealthing rape apology a bit, and said he just thinks it's weird that women would go on and, like, dump that info on Twitter, just on her own Twitter, like, just to her own followers, which is weird because that was the point of Gamergate. Not Gamergate, sorry, the Me Too movement. Like, hashtag Me Too is literally about encouraging victims of sexual assault and rape and harassment to speak up about it, to bring attention to it. That's literally like hashtag Me Too, like the Twitter hashtag. Like, that's the point. Like, that's the point of it, you know? So he's like anti-Me Too as a concept. The truth of the matter is, when it comes to hating the people he hates, Destiny doesn't have any positions other than the ones which lead him towards spite. This is just one bit of drama. I don't follow everything he does. This was just 1 2-day period during which his behavior exceeded like the moral, you know, I don't know, heinousness of a lot of the far right, like skeptic or alt-right types that I've known for years have engaged in. Like right there, just in 2 days, I don't know all the stuff that he does. Whatever the case may be, his community is very far down this line at this point. It's unrecognizable next to the community that I used to be a part of or the streamer that I used to follow. So, I mean, uh, his fans, the DGGers, seem to be under the impression that there's some kind of love lost here. Like eventually I'll get back together with him, but I don't know how to make them understand that in terms of how likable Destiny is, from my perspective, I would legitimately rather be friends with like Sargon. Like I would reach out to Ian Miles Chong, you know? Because to me, it's not just about the political positions that people hold. Because you know how on this channel I've talked with a lot of far right people um who seemed like how do I put it? Like their positions were really bad. Like they're basically ethno-nationalists. But but it's because of bad like preconceptions. It feels like you could argue them out of it. Like they seem like decent people, but on top of that decent personhood, you have like this framework of misinformation from consuming bad YouTubers or reading bad information or blah 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 blah, right? I've had convos I did just like a week ago when I was on that political compass Discord debate where that guy was like a basically an ethnonat, but he seemed like a good person underneath that. You know what I mean? I guess I like talking to those people because I get the impression that even if I have strong disagreements with them, even if I think their positions are morally heinous, their framework is functional. I can engage with them and we can disagree and they can be pushed into something more ethical, you know, like the tools are there. And Destiny is like this, and I hope you all will forgive me for saying this, a brilliant person and very funny, but he is so consumed by his emotional state. When he feels hateful, it just obliterates the processes that 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 I ever liked about him, and that's become more and more like what drives so much of his behavior. You know what I mean? Um so and look, like you can't argue a person out of that. Like that's a therapy and medication thing. I'm sorry. Um so yeah, I don't know. Um I was exaggerating a bit with the Ian Miles Chong thing. I don't think with the Sargon thing though. I genuinely don't. I don't know. I guess I just can't fathom that kind of behavior. I have no idea what would lead a person to behave in that way. It's not like I haven't said like edgy stuff, and it's not like I haven't taken positions in a reactionary way, and it's not like I haven't attacked like, you know, like the trans community in a reactionary way or whatever. It's just like I feel like if you get past all of that, the disagreeable things that I am or that I believe are things that can be talked through. And the disagreeable things that he is at this point are impossible to move through or to talk through. They're unreachable and essential elements of his emotional of like his emotional state. You know what I mean? And it causes him to act pretty indistinguishably from a bunch of far right people. I don't know. He seems to actively seek Twitter fights and shit. Look, I don't. He can antagonize if he wants. It's a God-given right. We live in the United States of America. I can't help but feel though that something fundamental here has been lost. You know, and honest to God, like maybe the reason why I'm like rambling about this right now is because when I see him behave this way, it's like the main thing on my mind isn't like, oh, he's going to harass people, oh, he's going to have a far right community or whatever. It's like, what if I turn out that way? I'm very self-assured in the rightness of my positions, you know. What if I end up like that? Like what like is this like is there a way to know that you're going down that road? Or do you just end up there? Because I am sure he would disagree with everything that I've said here. I'm sure his community would too, you know. But so do you even recognize it when you're headed down that road? Is there like a way, or there warning signs, or is it just entirely a perceptive thing? And you can just be all the way down there and have no clue. And then you just wake up one day and everything's different, but you don't know it, you know? I mean, people will try and tell you. Sure. But haven't people tried to tell me for the Canada discourse? Didn't my main mod on my Discord, Dingle, leave after being resentful towards me after the way I've handled a number of controversy? Didn't I just lose 4,000 subs and ban a bunch of people from my sub because they were telling me to take the L for saying women should shut up on Twitter? Now, to me, this is all defensible. To me, I can look at all of this and I can process it bit by bit. Yeah, but that was stupid. I think it was stupid. I think it was stupid. I believe it was stupid. Ah. I hope you can understand my concern here. You know, it really does seem like there's no reliable way of knowing. I don't know if it's just some act of faith or whatever. You know. The fact you're even thinking this is evidence you probably won't end up like that? Nope. Because back before Destiny lost his mind, one of the things that he said most often is the last thing he ever wants is to create an echo chamber, so he never challenges his own positions. Right now, everything I'm saying, I'm knowingly echoing stuff that he said before I even made a YouTube channel. There are no guarantees. Is it just the uncharitability is the issue? Because I think you guys logically agree. I've said this before in a video that I put on my off channel about being technically right. Logically agreeing with someone means nothing when they spend their time promoting reactionary politics, buddying with far-right people, attacking minority communities, saying they're banning people from them, purging everyone from his community who doubles down and disagrees with him, laughing at rape victims, saying, like, I don't care what a person logically agrees with. I care what their behavior is. Destiny defended you with the cat shit. Okay, he can defend me on 1,000 issues. My position on him is not going to be modified by his, at least his community's, desperate desire to see us back together. This isn't a reality TV show. There's no narratively satisfying arc where we get back together for 3 months before having another funny falling out. He could defend me on 1,000 things. It wouldn't make a difference. It doesn't change his behavior. And my problem with Destiny has never been that he doesn't like me. You know, much as a warning sign that tends to be in people. If he was morally upstanding and disliked me, you know, in addition to that, then, you know, whatever, that's life. You have to get a dependable friend. I just don't think there's any way to really protect against it. It might just be like an emotional, I don't know, like a stoicism thing, or maybe he just has anger issues or something. I don't really know. Don't you think your community will push back really hard? My community has pushed back really hard. And if I get annoyed with you, I ban you. You have to do that as any kind of like political streamer, especially one as contentious as me, because you guys are fucking insufferable. But like, to me, okay, here's the closest that I can get, okay? To me, I don't feel that I ever lie. if I'm wrong about something, I don't feel I have to lie, you know? And I can defend the behavior that I engage in. I don't know how Destiny could defend the rape apologia or the attacking the premises of Me Too without misdirection. And the times on Twitter where I criticized him for it, he devolved into like bickering shit posting every time. Any credit he like now that's just Twitter, of course, but from what I see on stream, it's basically the same there. Like Hans Vakir was levying like essentially objectively correct arguments against him in that debate. And Destiny's response was to just laugh and meme through everything, as far as I could tell. You know, levying indefensible points as long as it got omega lols from his community, like that's the marker for a good point from him. Um, so maybe that's it. Maybe it's just like that. Yeah, I'd like to think so, Shu. I do have to say, in terms of the idea, the narrative of like Destiny's been betrayed by the community he defended, I think that narrative is more true for me than it is for him by far. He's been streaming for longer than me, but the left has dedicated significantly more energy into attacking me than it has him because I'm very much in the left and I make an effort to be in the left, whereas he's sort of got his own circle. And I also dedicate my stream much more, you know, significantly to progressive politics than he does. So I feel like the betrayal narrative works more for me. But when I think about all of that, though I do get frustrated, it doesn't drive me towards a feeling that that I've been wronged and my being wronged warrants worse behavior from me. I didn't see that, Tempest. Yeah, I don't feel like the Joker, basically. Like none of this never happens and it leads me to then feeling like I am the Joker. That's the big one, I suppose. You aren't a contrarian. Only when it comes to media takes. At Vaush, I think he agrees the girl is not at fault. He just thinks she needs to be more responsible. So he laughed at the idea that she could be raped harder for confronting a rapist, assumed from an innocuous tweet of hers that didn't specify whether or not she noticed that she had been raped or stealthed before or after or during the sex had taken place, that it had happened during, and that she was weak for not speaking up, even though she can't really change anything at that point if the person's already committed to raping her. And his response to realizing this was to say maybe she just shouldn't have sex. I don't care if his logical position. This is what DGGers always do. You lie about his positions to cover for him and ignore every other thing that he says before finally settling on the defensible take that isn't even remotely the same as the stuff he was saying before. There's a difference between a fine thing to do, which is to be hyperbolic on Twitter, but then to refine it a bit for a real point. That's fine. It's Twitter. But that's not what he did. He just blamed her for getting raped, laughed about it for days, attacked the concept of Me Too, and then later he's like, oh yeah, I just think that we should all be like careful and protect ourselves against sexual assault. That's not the same argument. They're not even remotely the same. Those are entirely different words. It's not the same. Like, you can settle on that if you want, but that's just not the same thing that happened. I have a whole video on this. I looked over the tweets. There's just, you can't gaslight the whole world into thinking that he didn't do all that stuff. And anyone who, when angry, would settle into blaming a rape victim for getting raped or like attacking the concept of Me Too is someone who will do or say anything when they're angry. There's someone who has no self-control whatsoever when they're angry. They can never be trusted for any kind of political advocacy because all they need to do is be angry. And suddenly, like, anything is justified. If anything, Destiny reminds me a lot of Ethan Ralph in that both of them have this weird habit of insisting that they go, you know, tit for tat, and that they only ever go after people when they're gone after, and they keep everything proportional. But then both of them, the nanosecond anyone is perceived to like the moment they get angry at someone, they both like lose their shit and will do or say like anything, you know, which reminds me of like Destiny making fun of Doe's suicide attempt because Doe was like mean to Destiny on Twitter once, like, and then his community during all of that was like, well, you know, Doe did say this thing, and I saw people on Twitter trying to like defend Destiny. It's like, well, what did Doe say? And they were like, well, Doe was like a crazy lefty. Like it's nothing. It doesn't matter. The mechanisms for justifying this behavior are so broken and abstract that like Destiny's community will defend him doing anything because they're always going to find some workabout logic to like, you know, explain why all that happened. I don't remember Tempest. I can't even keep track of all of this shit. I feel like my drama is like fairly perceptible in relation to this. It feels like so much of my drama is people on the left get a fuck ton of clout from attacking me. So every minor thing I do that they dislike, whether or not it's actually bad, they like blow it out of proportion. And of course, I'm not going to let that go. So I engage with it and it turns into this big thing. But the root of the issue is always like really minor, and everything that gets big from it is like the escalation and the attacks that happen back and forth. Whereas in Destiny's case, it's the opposite, where the initial thing that he does unprompted is morally indefensible, and then it gets blurred over and obfuscated with a bunch of shit posting and gaslighting from his community. And then he moves on to like the next thing like 5 days later or whatever. It seems like opposite approaches to drama, and I gotta say, I wish that I had his capacity for it, because if I was as capable of like dusting down my drama as he is, then I feel like I would have like 8 billion subs. Like I'd be unstoppable, you know what I mean? God. Anyway, the only reason I'm rambling about all of this again is because when I see stuff like this, it exacerbates my personal anxiety that one day I'm going to be as like stupid as Destiny is when he gets emotional. Um, or that I'll like convince myself that my like deranged emotional bouts are somehow like a product of my enlightened brain and the only true remaining leftist, you know. Once again, therapy. I'm not the one here who needs therapy. Well, if I do, there are people who need it more, okay? That's all I'm saying. Including half of you. Get help. I think we should just become a hydraulic press channel. Yeah, true. Do you actually consider Destiny stupid, though? Yes, when he's emotional. How many times have I said this? Destiny's a brilliant guy. Until he gets emotional. Until he gets spiteful and hateful, at which point anything and everything is out the road. Maybe stupid's not the right term there, because even when he's defending something indefensible, he's still fairly eloquent in doing so. It's more that his capacity for reason is broken, if that makes any sense. He can intelligently navigate his way down up a sewer pipe to find like the shit pile or something. Like it's intelligence directed in a very unwise way. Eloquence is not intelligence. Intelligence is highly, highly, highly fragmented. People can be very smart at some things and very dumb at others. In his case, I just think he's an emotional person. It is, funnily enough, a characteristic that he shares with Hasanabe, a person who is, in moment-to-moment speech, fairly capable of engaging with ideas. I'm not saying I think he's some sort of brilliant wizard genius, but you can have a conversation with him at the very least. But if he gets upset, which he does often, instantly he is incapable, completely incapable of engaging with any disagreement whatsoever. It's just completely impossible. It's an impossibility. So I don't know. Maybe they're just dark parallels of each other. I have no idea. You know.